Are you looking for a lucrative side hustle that can potentially replace your salary? Now, franchising might be your answer. With its proven business model and established brand recognition, franchising has become a popular choice for entrepreneurs worldwide. In South Africa, the tourism sector is particularly ripe for franchising opportunities. But is franchising a guaranteed path to success, or are there pitfalls to watch out for? Just getting straight into the conversation, that franchising isn't a passive income or an easy retirement option. Can you elaborate on what it takes to succeed in franchising rather in South Africa?
The word side hustle refers to an additional income to your major income stream. But in saying that, it's not a side hustle where in the past a franchise was known to be a second revenue stream, which you don't need to invest a lot of effort and time in. However, that has changed recently. So if that side hustle, you can't commit full time and extra time and energy to it, then it should rather not be taken on as a side hustle.
But how do franchisees navigate the delicate balance between entrepreneurial spirit and adhering to the franchise's rules and guidelines?
You see, that's the challenge, because a true entrepreneur, franchise is not the best option for a true entrepreneur. True entrepreneur wakes up one morning, he's got an idea and he runs with it. Sometimes it's a great success, sometimes it fails. Where with franchise, you've got this safety net of a support of a franchisor that's got a proven concept, a model that works, supply chain is being calculated, but there is certain rules and guidelines that you would need to work within. So however, franchise is a much safer option. It's not failure proof, and it requires you to invest time and be properly trained in it.
Now, with that said, can you paint us a broader picture, on a realistic picture, on what it actually takes to succeed as a franchisee? And how does the day-to-day reality differ from the idea of a traditional 9-to-5 job or a relaxing retirement venture?
Unfortunately, you see both sides of the spectrum. A retailer only goes and sees this busy store, clientele, walk out with your product, and they don't realize the effort and time that goes into this. From a 9-to-5 job, you go on your 3 weeks leave in December. That's when your franchisee needs to graft at his store. A 9-to-5 job on a Friday afternoon, you maybe go home, have a red wine, and sit next to the pool. That's when your franchisee needs to graft. Same over weekends. Saturday morning, it's maybe time with friends, tend to the kids' sport and activities. That's when the franchisee grafts at his store. And that's where the side hustle becomes a challenge, because where I leave office at a Friday afternoon, the side hustler needs to go to his shop. And tomorrow is just another Monday, and that's where it becomes a challenge.
How do franchisees factor in essential expenses like taxes, medical aid, and retirement savings into their financial calculations? And what are the potential implications for their overall financial well-being?
That's a lot of times where the side hustle adds value, because franchise, as we know, that is there to create wealth, to open your second, third, and fourth store, build a legacy. And you can do that with a side hustle with your main job at the moment, looking after those expenses with lesser burden on the business, and then over time transform some of those personal lifestyle expenses onto the business, which obviously supports the sustainability and the future of it. So if a pure franchisee, they need to pass not only the drawings from it, but to your point, medical expenses, pension contributions, etc., which a full-time employment can cover those until you transform everything over to the business, maybe after settling your debt after 5 years, or after opening the third store, and the cash flow can sustain those expenses.
Yeah. Would you actually warn consumers on being fooled by appearances such as a packed store? And what are some of the key financial metrics that franchisees also should focus on?
The activity around the store, it can really blindfold an investor. So first of all, my start off point is to engage with the franchisor. First of all, have a look and see what their setup cost is, what's your own available funding. I will, in very, very certain cases or extreme cases, gear those businesses higher than 50%. the models are built to the extent that that's the debt level that business can carry. And if your available funds exceed those, definitely have a look at a cheaper option, start smaller, but grow over time than trying to start off with a bigger concept where the cash flow and the debt burden can cause you to lose the business over time.
Let's talk about monetization. What are the typical startup costs associated with launching a franchise business, and how do these costs vary depending on the franchise model, industry, and location?
To put an exact amount to it is very difficult. It's obviously dependent on store size. Within different industries, it can vary. If one has a look at automotive, for instance, compared to a sedan restaurant, with automotive, there's a lot of equipment, lift, forklifts, etc. So equipment plays a big role. It's also dependent if some of that equipment is imported or not. Obviously, exchange control and the exchange rate plays a very, very important role. So it's difficult to put an exact number to it. It can range anything from 300,000 Rand to 11 million Rand, depending on the concept. You could find concepts at the same size, but the setup cost is double that.
What are the common mistakes or pitfalls that franchisees may encounter if they lack a clear understanding of their objectives, and how can this ambiguity affect their decision making?
I think one of the biggest pitfalls we pick up daily is the decision being taken on emotion, the emotion involvement in it. It's sometimes a question of, I just want to get out of my current position. I just want to work for myself, not to totally understand what that entails. The experience and the knowledge of that is sometimes not supportive of the road that you decide. But when that emotional decision is taken, it's also not objective. From a bank's point of view, we're the last one to decline an application. We're in business as well. We would like to add to the economy of South Africa, and obviously franchise is one of those vehicles. So we would be the last one to decline an application if there's any potential opportunity for that business to be opened and generate employment for their staff.
And just before I let you go, can you share some strategies for a successfully expanding, or rather side hustle franchise into a full-time business, and what considerations should entrepreneurs keep in mind when making this transition?
Start rather smaller than bigger. Although there's views of partnering is not the way to go, but if you want to do it as a side hustle, make sure that you get someone to share the burden. If it is to appoint a manager, make sure that the manager is someone that you can really trust, someone that's got an interest in the business, even if it means to give him a small portion, 10%, 20% share, give it to him so that there's an interest to protect. Today, you can't allow the business or leave the business for a manager or staff member to run. So that would be my guidance for starting a side hustle.
Well, thank you for joining us on today's episode on Africa Side Hustle, and that's Henk Botha, franchise sector head at FNB. Now, as we conclude today's episode, remember that Africa's entrepreneurial spirit is unstoppable. Turn your passions into profits and join the movement. Now, share your hustle story with us on social media using hashtag Africa Side Hustle, and don't forget to subscribe for more entrepreneurial stories, business news, and insights on CNBCAfrica.com. Till next week.